All right, what's up, YouTube? Now you see the title of this video, and you see the image that I have, or should I say the pages that I have open on the screen. Now, this video, I said in a prior video um that I made about gematria doing a decode on some event, right? I forgot exactly what video it was, but I said that I was gonna start showing decodes of like movies and video games and whatnot, because here's the thing, right? When it comes to this gematria and how the cabal, I'll say, encodes the news and whatnot and all that. It's not just the news. It's the news, it's movies, and it's even video games. A lot of people don't really look into that aspect, or at least I haven't really seen many people really look into that aspect, because um honestly, I think the cabal, they like to encode video games. In my opinion, probably they put a lot more truth in the video games more than a lot of other things, I think, because it's a video game, right? Mostly kids are playing video games. Of course, adults are playing video games, but for the most part, it's younger, teenagers and whatnot, and kids who play video games. And a lot of adults, when they get older, they don't really they either they still play video games, but it's not as much, or they just stop altogether and just they don't play video games anymore. So it's really a lot of younger people playing them, and they can sneak a lot of subliminal messages in these video games. I mean, I've grown up playing video games, and I still do playing from time to time. And when you know this truth, you see the subliminal messages. You see how they mock the people, even in the video games, right? So, like I said, you see the title, and I said I was gonna do a decode on like a movie or a video game soon, and I'm gonna decode the game Black Ops 2. This is gonna be part one, because I'm not gonna be able to fit everything in one video. I'm gonna do a part two to this, but for part one is gonna be pretty pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna put too much in this one video, but the reason I'm decoding Black Ops 2 is because if you know anything about this game, right? This game was set in 2025, and it's 2025 now, right? So when you really look at the game and you look at the story of the game and break down the characters in the game, you really see that they were subliminally placing the plans they had in your face even back then. This game came out in 2012. I think it was like November 13th of 2012. Right? I still remember getting this game for Christmas. And yeah, that's when it came out. November 13th, 2012. And yeah, the game was set in 2025, right? It was set in 2025. And it's just really funny how now that I go back at this and doing a decode of the game, it's like this was in our face. Trump becoming president was in our face in this game. And even, I believe, Kamala Harris could possibly still become president, because I'm gonna show you in this game how it's numerically alluded to Kamala Harris when it comes to the presidency. I'm gonna show that, right? But just getting into this, right? Um if you don't know what gematria is, you can go watch one of my past videos where I kind of do a minor breakdown. Who I have added in this video, who I'm just gonna add in all my videos on gematria, just so if you have any questions, just click on that who I have added. That's the individual whose his name is Zachary K. Hubbard, who um really has really got me more into gematria. When I found out about him and his work, he really breaks it down, in terms of what it is better than anything. He has books and everything, right? So go check that out if you don't know what this stuff is. But for those who know what this is, you're gonna be like, dang, this is crazy that this is in this game. And for those who just think everything is a coincidence, I guess just sit and just watch all the coincidences happening before your eyes, the numerical matches and all that, and the overlaps that I'm about to show. I guess it's all coincidence. But just to start off, right, this game is basically about a man by the name of Raul Menendez who, actually, instead of me doing that, I have the plot right here anyway. Of like the game, what it's about, right? So I'm gonna just kind of briefly read over some of this stuff to give you a gist on the plot of the game, right? So here's the plot, right? And I'm gonna just read it off. In the year 2025, a U.S. Special Operations team led by David Mason and his partner Mike Harper arrive at the vault, a top security location home in an agent Frank Woods, whom they suspect possesses vital information on the whereabouts of Raul Menendez. Woods concedes that Menendez has recently visited him and shows them a locket that the latter had left behind. Frank then narrates several covert missions undertaken during his military career, which spanned their previous encounters. According to Woods, by 1986, Alex Mason had effectively retired from active duty to pursue an obscure existence in Alaska with his son, the 7-year-old David. Their shaky relationship is strained further when Mason is solicited by his father, his former handler, Jason Hudson, seeking to recruit him for an assignment in Cubango during the height of the Angolan civil and South African border wars. Woods had disappeared with his men while aiding Jonas Savabini's UNITA rebels against Angola's Marxist government. Their actions have already been disavowed by the CIA, and Hudson hopes to rescue any survivors with UNITA's assistance. Mason and Hudson recover Woods from Cubagano, subsequently locating Menendez along a contingent of Cuban military advisors. However, a firefight breaks out and their crew escapes as the Americans are rescued by helicopter. It is revealed that Menendez is responsible for holding Woods captive after murdering his team. Now, just reading that off just to give you a gist of kind of like the plot. Raul Menendez, he has smoke with America because the CIA, if I'm sure, they I think they murked some of his fam, so he has smoke with them, and he basically is in charge of a terrorist organization that emerges in 2025, which is the year the game set in, and he basically wants smoke with the United States. He wants to, bring down the West and whatnot. So, now that that's pretty much established, Raul Menendez, he's the main antagonist in the game. He's the villain, right? He's the guy that's trying to bring about the end of United States. He wants all the smoke. He got his terrorist organization, and yeah, his plans is to bring down the United States. So just to get off into Raul Menendez, right? He's the main antagonist right now. Raul Menendez in this game represents Trump. And to show that, I'm going to put his name in the gematria calculator right now to show you the overlap between Raul Menendez and Donald Trump. Now, for all you who think everything's coincidence, I guess this is just a coincidence, right? But you see, look, right here. Raul Menendez, Donald Trump. Reverse full reduction, 60. Reverse full reduction over here, 60. English ordinal, 138. English ordinal, 138. He also equals 190, 190, 274, 274, 828, 828. And those are all the overlaps, right? That he has right there. What is that? 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5. That's 5 overlaps in 5 different ciphers. You can't just make that match. I can't just type anything in this calculator for those who say that, oh, you can just type anything in there and make it match. That's not how this works, man. You can't just type anything into here and just make anything match. That's not how this works. Especially since I've overlapped 5 different ciphers. You can't just do that. You would be basically professing that I'm some mathematical genius to do this, because it's nearly impossible to just make this match like this. You can't just do that. You can't just do that by typing anything in there. It's not how this works. So there's 5 overlaps between Raul Menendez and Donald Trump. And I'm going to explain why that is the case here, because I'm going to decode what this game is really about. Remember, this was set in 2025. Raul Menendez is the main antagonist of this game. He's the villain, and he's the guy who wants smoke with America. Now, you might be like, what does that have to do with Trump? I'm going to get to that in a second, right? Raul Menendez, Donald Trump, they match because he represents Trump in this game. I'm going to explain how in a minute, right? Now, first off, we have to get into what Trump, what Trump represents when it comes to his role, you know, with him being president and what is about to really go down in 2025. 2025 is going to be a very it's going to be a wild year. It's going to be a year where it's going to lead us into a lot of crazy shit. All these idiots running around, talking about Trump's going to save America. It's actually quite the opposite. He's going to bring about the end of this country. That's his role. That's his role. And if we don't stop this in the truth community, the people that's in this community, if we don't stop this, then, we're cooked. So that's Trump's role. He is the villain. And this Raul Menendez, right? Here's just more things that I guess you could say it's coincidence, I guess. But Raul Menendez, in the game, he has an organization, his terrorist organization's name is Cordis Die, right? So let me just type that into the calculator, right? Cordis Die. That's the name of his organization, right? So Raul Menendez's organization's name is Cordis Die. That's the organization that he has. He has a lot of followers in it. It's a populist movement, right? Even in the little wiki right here for the game, it says that it's a populist movement, kind of like MAGA, right? MAGA is a populist movement. A lot of people follow, and it's a real big movement. And it's funny because if you put Cordis Die, now this is kind of another way how I kind of knew that Trump would win his second term, because if you put Cordis Die in second term in the gematria, this is what you get, right? You get some overlaps, right? You get some overlaps in here, right? Let me see here. Okay, yeah, we got it. Okay. So yeah, Cordis Die in second term, right? In the Septenary cipher is 39, and also in the KFW Kabbalah cipher it's 128. And in the game, Raul Menendez, he re-emerged in the year 2025, right? Before 2025, he was already doing things and basically a part of, he had his little organization and he was kind of going against America, but he kind of went into hiding. He reemerged in the year 2025. He came back, right? So Cordis Die in second term, as in, Trump, this is his second term. He's coming back to be in the office for the second time, kind of like how Raul Menendez in the game came back for the second time to come against America, right? Because that's what Trump's role is. His role is to come against America. He's not helping America. He's not here to save anybody. All these people saying God put Trump in office. These are some of the dumbest people you'll see in the society. I'm sorry. It's just I don't see how you can look at Trump and what he does and even put God in the same realm as him, man. This is crazy. But Cordis Die, this is kind of funny. Cordis Die, like die, killing, because that's what Trump's really his plan is. He has no love for any of you people. For y'all who think this, he could care less about you. But Cordis Die, second term, 39, 128. Not a coincidence. But that's just there to show you, like, yeah, that represents his second term. The organization that he's a part of in this game, Raul Menendez, who represents Trump. He reemerges for his second time. How Trump has his second term, and again to show more of when it comes to the Cordis Die organization. If you put in the MAGA cult, right? Because a lot of people they refer to MAGA as the MAGA cult. They call it the MAGA cult, right? You will hear that in the media. You put in the MAGA cult and you put in Cordis Die MAGA, right? If you put that at the end of it, look what you get here. You get an overlap in the Chaldean cipher. You get the MAGA code 39, the Quartus dot MAGA 39, showing that represents, MAGA. It represents the Make America Great Again crowd, which MAGA really is um just one of the highest degrees in the Church of Satan, right? That's what it's a play on. But you also notice here the MAGA cult comes up to 666 in Sumerian. That's interesting, but that's just something else. That's not neither here nor there, right? But it's just interesting. Um, but another component to this game that I want to break down is that in the game, right? Now we know that there's a lot of talk about Trump coming back in and how his tariffs are gonna crash the economy and whatnot. In the game, in the plot of the game, Raul Menendez, he actually, and let me actually go over here to show this. Let me go over here to show this. Let me read it out. Now, we see right here, 3 decades later, remember, because I said Raul Menendez reemerged, right? It says here 3 decades later, Menendez reemerges, right? Like I said, how he reemerged, kind of like how Trump's reemerging now to be the second president. But 3 decades later, Menendez reemerges as the leader of Cortes Die, a massive populist movement with over 2 billion followers. He stages a cyber attack. Look out. This year, we could see probably something to like a degree of a cyber attack, because that's kind of like one of the main themes of this game also with cyber attacks. But anyway, he stages a cyber attack that cripples the Chinese stock exchange. In response, the Chinese banned the export of rare earth elements, fomenting the start of a new Cold War between China-led Strategic Defense Coalition, SDC, and the US-led NATO. Now, here's something interesting, right? They always talk about the Trump tariffs and how that's going to affect the economy. Now, I guess this is just a coincidence, but whatever. I'm going to show this, right? So if you put in Trump will crash economy, right? And you in the game, right? They ban the Chinese banned the export. And it's funny, it's with the Chinese, right? That Raul Menendez started a issue with, which caused trade issues, kind of like how Trump is talking about putting tariffs on China and all that, which could cause trade issues. This isn't a coincidence. But once again, Trump will crash economy. And in the game, right, I just read that they banned the export of rare earth elements, right? Rare earth elements. Trump will crash economy, Septenary 72, rare earth elements, same cipher, 72. So it's kind of interesting how that comes out to 72. Trump will crash economy and rare earth elements, when in this game, Raul Menendez, who represents Trump, caused the economy to be affected by way of causing issues with China, which banned the export of rare earth elements, right? So that's another thing to note, just another thing in this breakdown. And another thing, right? Because expect some stuff with Iran to be coming soon, because in this game, right, the leader of the SDC in this game, Tian Zhao, he was one of the guys who kind of was having smoke. Well, he was one of the guys that hold up, let me see. Let me read this. Taking advantage of the standoff from his attempts to bring two powers of football, blown more by some conflict between the two, secretly aiding SDC chair. Yep. Okay. Okay, yeah. So Menendez secretly aided the SDC, and the chairman was Tian Zhao, right? And there was issues between them and America, right? Now, if you look at this, right, and how this can go into more with Iran, right? If you put in Ayatollah, now Ayatollah, that's the name that's given to the leader of Iran, right? And you put in Tian Zhao, right? I think that's actually, yep. Ayatollah 24, Tian Zhao 24 in the septenary cipher. Both ciphers right there. Once again, I guess you could just say that's a coincidence, but it's mighty funny how there's already been talks with Iran and how that's going to be an issue, and Iran's definitely there's going to be some issues with Iran down the line. So it's kind of funny how Ayatollah and Tian Zhao, those overlap, considering that you know this game is set in 2025, and I can see some stuff with Iran in America in this year for sure. More stuff about Iran down the pipeline. Expect that to happen. Now, another thing is something else to note. I'm gonna get into the last thing I'm gonna go into is the Kamala Harris thing to show you, because there's something funny about who was the president in this game that was set in 2025 and how there's overlap with Kamala and that individual. But um here's something else to just another thing that I guess you could just say is coincidence, but drug lord equals 45 in full reduction and in reverse. Now in this game, right? Because drug lord, right? In this game, Raul Menendez is a drug lord. That's what he is. He's a drug lord. And drug lord comes out to 45, right? Now, as you know, Donald Trump is the 45th president of the United States. That's what he is. He became the 45th president of the United States. So think about it like drug lord and Raul Menendez, I've already showed you, represents Trump. He has all the overlap with Trump's name. And Raul Menendez was a drug lord, right? His name is 45. I mean, drug lord is 45, just like Trump became the 45th president. And Raul Menendez, who represents Trump in this game, was a drug lord, 45. Guess that's just a coincidence too, but whatever. Um, and also to get into the last part, because like I said, I'm gonna have a part two. Is some other stuff I want to show. Just more coincidences, I guess. But in this game, which was set in 2025, it just so happens that the president in this game so happened to be female. Now, who I have added in this video, Zachary K. Herbert, you go watch his content. He, kind of believed that Kamala Harris would become the president. Joe Biden would step down and probably Kamala would step in and become president. He was thinking that would happen, towards like the end of 2024. But actually, I could still see that happening, even though it didn't happen at the end of 2024. I could see it still happening because in this game, right, the president so happens to be a woman, set in 2025. And if we actually look at the woman's name in this game, who was the president, right? We look at her name. Her name was Marion Bosworth, right? So if you first off, even not even getting into her full name, if we put in Bosworth, right, and then we put in Kamala, you'll see that Bosworth comes out to 42, right? Bosworth is 42, which is the last name of the female president in the game that was set in 2025. Bosworth is 42, and Kamala, right, comes out to 42. I guess you could be, oh, it's just coincidence, bro. It's just coincidence. All right, well, something else here we can look at. If you put in Kamala's name as in her full name, because and not just her first and last, I mean her middle name too. If you didn't know, her middle name is Debbie, right? If you put in Kamala Debbie Harris, right? That's her full name. And then you take the name of the female president in this game that was set in 2025, you get Marion Bosworth, right? That's her full name, Marion Bosworth. Now, Kamala Debbie Harris and Marion Bosworth both come out to 163 in the LCH Kabbalah cipher. Once again, I guess you could just say, oh, that's just coincidence, bro. It's just coincidence. Okay. It's a bunch of coincidences that's been shown in this video. And mind you, I got way more. Like I said, I'm going to have a part two of this. But kind of crazy how Kamala Debbie Harris, her full name, and Marion Bosworth both come out to 163 in the LCH Kabbalah cipher. And like I said, this game was set in 2025, and the president just so happened to be a female in this game. And there's been a lot of stuff, Kamala could become president, if Biden steps down, right? And I think there was even somebody who alluded to that, a long time ago, like in the 1900s or something, right? I forgot his name, but Zach on his channel, right? He talked about that whoever that guy's name is, I forgot. Was it something Hoover? who said that the first female president would come because a man would have to step down. He wouldn't be able to complete his term. So yeah, and that was in, whatever year, 19 something, right? And we're in this time where we have a female vice president and a president who everyone thinks is not fit to hold office because he's not well equipped mentally and whatnot. So that could happen, right? Him stepping down. Even now, it could still happen because the inauguration, is still a ways away. He could still step down and Kamala could be president for a week. Who knows, right? Who knows? But it could still happen. But I just find it funny how this game that was set in 2025, which has Raul Menendez as the antagonist who represents Donald Trump, and all the stuff when it comes to who, what this game is alluding to in terms of what's going to happen in the future. Kamala Devi Harris and Marion Bosworth being the president in that year of 2025 in the game. They both have an overlap. Her complete name. It's not just her first and last name. It's her first, middle, and her last name in the name of the female president in the game in 2025. Guess it's just coincidence, but yeah. That's really all I gotta really say for this video. Didn't want this video to be too long. Just wanted to do a minor breakdown of this game since it is the year 2025. So I thought, why not just go ahead and do Black Ops 2, which was set in 2025, to go ahead and be one of my first, video game breakdowns and stuff. And I'm gonna do a movie breakdown soon and whatnot, just to show you how all this code is in not just the news and sports, but movies, video games, all that stuff, right? Even comic books. But that's all I really got to say for this video. 2025 is definitely going to be a year that I think is going to hopefully wake a lot of people up. If not, then I don't know, man. I really don't know. But that's all I got to say for this video, man. I'm out.